Hey there guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I just want to take a look at this old Galaxy S9. So this Galaxy S9 belonged to one of my friends, and he just upgraded, but I just wanted to make a quick video on this phone. So this phone is in pretty rough shape. He does a lot of construction kind of work and that kind of thing, so it's been through quite a bit. So you can kind of see we have a crack up here at the top, we have another point of impact right here, and then another point of impact down here at the corner right here. So hopefully you can kind of see the cracks and everything here. It also has this kind of weird smudging. He did use an OtterBox case with this, and it had that plastic screen protector. So I feel like over time, the plastic screen protector just kind of scratched it up. Not really sure, but it's it's not in the greatest condition. The sides of the phone, as you can see, are pretty scuffed up. Paint is missing on both sides, as well as the bottom here. The back looks okay. It does have some scratching on there. But the screen still works just fine, and there's no light bleed or burn-in or anything like that. So, but yeah, it's been well loved. Alright, so just to give you some specs on the Galaxy S9 here, the Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus were both released back in March of 2018. Doesn't seem like that long ago, but it's nearly been 3 years. So this is the AT&T variant, so it only came in 3 different colors. Came in Midnight Black, which I do have here. Came in Coral Blue and Lilac Purple. So on the front here, we do have a really nice 5.8-inch OLED display, and that is the same exact size that the iPhone X, XS, and iPhone 11 Pro have, so it is a little bit small by today's standards. It is an OLED display, has a resolution of 1440 by 2960, so effectively a 1440p display. It is only 60 Hertz. It does have an aspect ratio of 18.5 to 9, so our capacities that we had with this, it came in 64, 128, and 256 gigs of storage. For the S9, came with 4 gigs of RAM, and the S9 Plus came with 6 gigs of RAM. As far as our processor, in America, it came with a Snapdragon 845 processor. On the back here, we do have one 12 megapixel camera right here. We do have the LED flash and a little sensor for your heart rate, as well as your fingerprint scanner right there. So this 12 megapixel camera can do 4K up to 60 frames per second. We do have our front camera right here, so it does have a face unlock, and that front camera, we have 2, so it's an 8 megapixel and 2 megapixel, but I believe the 2 megapixel camera is just used for the face unlock. It does have a wide mode, and it can do 4K up to 30 frames per second. This also has stereo speakers on it. So you should get pretty good sound, and we'll test that out in just a little bit here. It does have a 3000 milliamp hour battery, which sounds pretty small, but as we know, Apple has chosen to do batteries that are smaller than that. It does support Quick Charge 2.0, and I think it included a 15-watt fast charger in the box. In addition to that, it does offer wireless charging, so you can, it does have a glass back here, and then we have our USB-C right here as well. We also have something we don't see in a lot of phones anymore, a 3.5mm headset jack. So, and I believe it is tuned with AKG sound, so it should offer pretty good sound as well. It does have IP68 water resistance. This one, not particularly, because it's got cracks on it. So if you have a cracked phone, don't put it in water. Probably not a good idea. One other thing of interest, this does have a haptic home button. So if you have it off here, you do have that little home button down here, and you can kind of hear it on the table. So it's just that little home button, which I thought was kind of interesting. So it doesn't even show up right here, but once you open it up, you can see we do have that haptic home button right there. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Now, my friend did actually still have the box for this, so it came in this nice black box here. We had Galaxy S9 branding right there, AT&T logo, and then all the details on the back. So it doesn't have all the stuff that came with it, but here's what it says it contains. It contains the phone itself, SIM card, wall USB charger, a stereo headset, USB connector, quick start guide, and terms and conditions. And nice black box here in that sleeve. The model number we have here is SMG960U, and this was of course the Midnight Black version, as I said previously there. So we just pop this open, and you'd have your phone on top here. You get a little pamphlet with a SIM eject tool right here, and then we get a getting started guide from AT&T, as well as terms and conditions, health and safety stuff. Super exciting. In addition to that, we get an actual adapter here. So it's a USB-C to USB-A adapter, and I believe they use this to transfer over stuff from a different phone. However, you can use this to hook up anything that has a USB-A here also. So that's kind of handy to have, actually. Now in here, you would have had your headphones right there, and then we would have had a charger block as well as the actual charging cable right there. All right, and just to quickly show you the design of this phone. Now, of course, this is not the best candidate to show off because it is cracked and everything, but I'll try to give you the gist of it here. So this is a pretty small phone, again, 5.8 inches, pretty thin as well. Now, as you can see, we have a bezel on the top and the bottom here. This does have two cameras, as I said previously. So we have the 8-megapixel camera that we use for selfies, and then this camera that's kind of hidden behind here, and that one is meant for the face unlock. This is a beautiful OLED display. Even with it cracked and scratched like this, it's still actually a really nice, vibrant display. Now, this is a curved display, which a lot of people don't really particularly like. I know my friend didn't like it. I'm not a fan of them, but you kind of get them and you got to deal with it. So it tapers off here to this metal edge, and it's not as thin as the Velvet was that I showed previously in another video, but on the side here you can see we do have our volume key right here, and we have a Bixby button. And I know that was a controversial thing too because people don't really like Bixby, and I don't believe you could actually reprogram the Bixby button to be the Google Assistant button, but yeah, so I think you were stuck with Bixby with this model. I don't recall, so if you can reprogram it, let me know in the comments. I don't remember if that was a thing. But as you can see, it is metal. It has been quite scratched here. I think it's aluminum on the sides right here. Now if we take a look at the bottom, we do have our 3.5mm headset jack, which is nice. We do have USB-C for charging, as well as our speaker right there. And we have two antenna bands right there. Taking a look at the other side here, we just have the power key. And again, this poor thing is just scratched to hell. Nothing we could do there, but, you know, maybe repaint it, something like that. On the top of the phone, we do have our SIM and micro SD card slot right there, so you can expand this. We do have a microphone as well right there. And taking a look at the back here, this is also glass. We only have one camera on the back, so as we know, now we have camera bumps and a boatload of cameras. So I think the Galaxy S21 has 3. The Galaxy S21 Ultra, I think, has 4 or 5, plus the LED flash. So we are in camera town now. But we do have that camera again, fingerprint sensor right there, and then we have our LED flash as well as a heart rate sensor right there. So you can test your heart rate, just put your finger over it right there, and then it'll tell your heart rate in the health app. And then we have Samsung branding, really light right there, Galaxy S9 branding, and then we have a little sticker. And these come on, I don't know if they still do this with the newer ones, but I remember these came on the phone when you got them, and he just never took it off, so it's been on there since it was new. So one impressive thing here is this phone came with Android 8 back when it was released in 2018. However, it is up to date with Android 10. It does have One UI 2.5, and it is running the latest security patch, I believe. I'm not sure if January has come out yet, but it's on December 1st, 2020 security patch. And I'm pretty impressed with that, honestly. I think most of the Samsung phones get 2 to 3 updates for flagships, so pretty impressive. Not sure if this one will get 11, but hey, still pretty up to date if you ask me. All right, so let's talk about the apps that come on the phone here. So as you can see, this was the home screen that I got when I first got it set up here. So you have a weather widget by default, you have a Google search bar right there by default, and we have 5 icons down here at the bottom. So we have phone, messaging, internet, Play Store, and camera right there. And then you can, I believe, use gestures with Android 10, but they have their own thing. So Samsung has their multitasking button right there. You have your home button right here. And again, that is a haptic button. So it does actually provide haptic feedback if you push in on that button. And then we have a back key as well. And on the other screen, we get a couple things here. So we get a gallery icon, so we can go to the gallery for our photos, AT&T Call Protect, My AT&T, and then more AT&T garbage. So device help, mobile security, setup and transfer, and AT&T smart Wi-Fi. And if we slide up here, we get all the apps that are on the phone here. Now I've installed a couple here to test out, but not a lot of bloatware, honestly. We have the AT&T apps I just mentioned. We do have Google apps, so of course you would get all the regular Google apps with this. You do get Samsung apps as well, so AR Zone, Galaxy Store, the Internet, Galaxy Wearable, Samsung Health, Samsung Notes, Smart Things, and Smart Switch. You get all the defaults that you would get in here. You do get Facebook, unfortunately. Let's see if we can uninstall it. And no, we can't uninstall it. Stop giving us bloatware like this. I don't know why companies do this. If you don't want Facebook on your phone, you shouldn't have to, you should be able to delete it. I don't want Facebook, let me delete it. Anyway, so then we have a game launcher here. We have more Google apps, Samsung Pay, Samsung members, and all that stuff there. So one thing that they included on here is this AR zone, and it reminded me a lot of the Animoji. So this was the year, 2017 was when the Animoji, I believe, were introduced for Apple. So they came out with their own thing. So they have an emoji studio, AR doodles, emoji stickers, all this stuff. And you can go to this camera here, and what it'll do is, as you can see here, it puts a little AR character on me, and they have a couple different options. So probably fun for the kids. They do have some scenes you can do. So it'll actually give you a whole scene, and yeah, so probably fun for the kids. Not really that fond of that, but you can download more as well, and change camera and put it on somebody on the other camera if you want to. So yeah, kind of cool little addition. So the Galaxy S9 does have an always-on display. So OLED displays are really good at that. So you can have all black and none of the pixels will be lit up. But you do have some basic information here. So you have your time, date, battery life, as well as if any notifications are there. And we can also just tap our home button to get to our lock screen. You can tap your notifications to see any new notifications. We have our swipe to unlock, as well as two quick toggles right there. Another cool thing that we have is on the fingerprint scanner right here, you can turn this gesture on where you can swipe down and you can get to your notification shade right there, and then swipe up and get rid of it. So that's kind of cool also. Another cool thing is this one-handed mode. So all you have to do that is swipe down on the home button, and then it'll shrink it down. Now, in addition to that, you can actually resize this to whatever you want. So if you want to have it super small, you can do that. And of course, you have a right-handed mode as well as a left-handed mode. So you can easily go and just use your phone like this. And when you're ready to go back, you just tap the black area right there, and it brings it back to full screen. So I'm sure there are more cool things in there, but those are just a couple. Now, as far as performance is concerned, it's still not bad. Our single core score is pretty low, I'd say. Probably a little below a mid-ranger right about now in 2021. But the multi-core score is actually pretty good for this. So 2189, so I'd say that's pretty good. That's probably about what a mid-range of this time period would be. So not too bad as far as performance. You can tell it lags behind some of the newer phones, but if you're getting one of these used and you find it for a good deal, yeah, it's going to perform just fine. All right, let's just test out some social media apps and see the performance on those. So just to show you here, I do have everything closed out, and we'll go ahead and try Instagram first here. And as you can see, that loads up really quickly there, and scrolling is nice and smooth. No stutters or anything. We can go in and like stuff here. Go to our camera. Try it again. There we go. Camera swapping a little slow. Yeah, a little stutter there, but for the most part, runs pretty well. So let's go ahead and test out Twitter here. That loads up pretty quickly. As you can see, our fleet's loaded up here at the top. Images load up pretty quickly there, so that's pretty good. You can go in and like a tweet here. Check out our notifications right there. We have our new tweet right there. So that runs just fine. Let's go ahead and try out TikTok. I have the sound off so I don't get a copyright strike or anything, but as you can see, that runs just fine. So TikTok runs pretty quickly also, so we can go through these pretty quickly. I'm apparently harding all these on accident. Now I'm going to give you a quick speaker test on this, and I forgot about this, but the earpiece on this is actually not working. So it only comes out of here, but it is still pretty loud, so I'll give you a quick speaker test. So again, don't judge the Galaxy S9 based on this phone. This is just a quick video just to show it off here. Alright, just to quickly talk about the display on this here. So of course we have a beautiful OLED display on here, and even though this is scratched and cracked and everything, you can still see these colors are beautiful and vibrant. I think Samsung is probably the best at making displays, and this actually goes to 1440p, so you can change it and have the display only show at 1080p if you wanted to save some battery life, but it does go at 1440p, and surprisingly, the Galaxy S21 is only 1080p, which is kind of crazy, so I've kind of gone backwards as far as displays are concerned, but this one has an absolutely gorgeous, very colorful, very vibrant display, and if it's not burnt in or anything, even cracked like this, it still looks gorgeous. So of course Samsung has really good cameras on their phones. This one is kind of limited, so we have that selfie camera, and then we have that face unlock camera, and just that one camera on the back here, but they do take pretty good shots. Now, one thing I did like about this is on the front camera we do have a regular, and then we have a wide mode. There's also a panoramic wide mode. It does have a night mode on here, and it can do 4K video on both front and back cameras. So let me go ahead and show you a couple of pictures and clips from this, and you can decide what you think. Here's a quick sample of the rear camera on the Galaxy S9. It can do 4K at 60 frames per second. Here's a quick sample of the Galaxy S9's front camera, and it can also do 4K at 30 frames per second. So even in 2021, the Galaxy S9 is still a pretty decent phone. It's a little small by today's standards, but we do have this beautiful 1440p display, OLED, and if you can find one in good shape for a good price, it's probably worth getting. It does still have Android 10, and it is still up to date. It doesn't have the newest One UI or some of the newest Samsung features, but still a pretty good phone overall. At launch, it was $800. And that's just for this one, a little bit more for the other model. And if you check on Swappa, you can see we have some pretty low prices here. $195 for the AT&T, $200, so about $200. You can find one probably 64 gigs in decent condition. Now, the one thing that's kind of unfortunate about these phones is they have OLED displays, and OLED displays are really expensive to replace. So most of the time, if you crack one of these, it's not worth fixing because the display itself costs more than the phone is worth. So just to give you some reference here, on Mobile Centrics, for a refurbished Galaxy S9 display, it's still $130, and that's a refurbished display. So on Swappa, it's about $200 for one of these, or you can buy a display for $130, and if you decide to do it yourself, there'd be no labor costs, but if you did have it done at a shop, you're probably looking at nearly the same price as buying another one used. So that's the only thing that sucks with this. So this one probably is not worth even repairing, but still works fine, has a usable display and all that stuff. So you could probably find one of these with a cracked display for much cheaper. But anyway, guys, I definitely think it's still a worthy phone in 2021, still offers quite a few features, and you know, if you can get one in good shape and it's not damaged, it's still a pretty decent phone. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this quick video on the Galaxy S9. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. If you liked the video, hit that like button. If you want to see more like this, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time.